just don't worry. Okay. Crooked Doctors. We're coming up right now. Don't say anything until we start the show. Welcome to our show, Crooked Doctors.
Crooked Doctors.
Today is Friday, January 18th.
It is?
Yep, Friday, January 18th, 2013.
That's right.
And we have a guest in the studio with us
today. A special
today.
guest, folks.
This is a special guest. This is Ozana Radin. Say hello.
Hi, how are you?
This is my mother.
Mother.
And she's a key witness.
She is.
Against corrupt government.
Yes.
So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce Mom a little bit.
Okay.
Then we're going to discuss Bill's case a little bit.
Yes.
And then we know we have callers calling in, but it's very important because Mom's from out of town.
That's right.
And she came in as a witness to put statements, to give a witness statement.
On the record?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's what scares everybody more than anything else. When I first met Bill, your skills have increased dramatically.
Oh, thank you.
He got himself a computer. He
Yes.
got a tech team.
Yes.
And now Bill is writing his own complaints.
I certainly am.
You cannot. We're going to show you the complaint that Bill wrote.
Oh.
Because what we didn't tell you is that in November we were invited to a public event. And at this public event in Jersey City, there was a city councilwoman there.
Yes.
And some of the, it was in Bill's building, and we were asked to speak about a new law that we're trying to get passed in Jersey.
That's right. Tenants' rights, yes.
The tenants' ability to recover their attorney's fees.
Yes.
The landlord didn't like it. Now,
That's
I don't
right.
want you to get upset.
Right.
But they threatened to arrest us.
Yes.
Okay? So, and Mom is going to talk about how Judge Patterson threatened to arrest her.
That's right.
So, we're not afraid. We're coming forward. We've had it with the bullies, and we're standing up to them.
That's right.
That's right.
And there you go. Now, Mom, I want to tell people about Mom a little bit. Now, Mom, my grandmother fought the Nazis in World War II.
That's
yes,
right.
Yeah.
She was a courier of information.
That's right.
And she brought information, photographs to the Soviets.
Okay.
So because Mom lived in
Yugoslavia.
Yeah. And after World War II, and there was terrible repressive communism in Yugoslavia.
Yes. That's right.
Mom didn't stick around. She wasn't allowed to get an education.
That's right.
She wasn't allowed to practice her religion. She wasn't allowed to own her own business.
Right.
So Mom said, "The heck with that."
I leave.
She left. And where did you go?
I went in Italy to emigrate legally in the United States.
So Mom came to the United States. Did you have permission to leave?
No, the Yugoslavia was not a country of law. The United States, it was a country of laws.
Well,
And
that's what we
I
thought.
wanted.
That's right.
That's what we thought until we caught.
But
For
what would happen if you got caught?
I would be in prison and I would be serving hard labor.
So when Mom, at the point where Mom came in the 50s, there was
Early 50s.
It was very repressive in Yugoslavia.
Yes.
And she did not have permission to leave the country.
No.
She had to escape. Is that correct?
That's right.
And if she was caught, for a first offense, it's a year hard labor.
That's right.
And the second offense is 3 years hard labor.
No, I don't know a third offense.
You don't know?
No, I don't know. The third offense, I don't know. I just know if they caught you, you will
First
serve.
time. Yeah.
First time you've been, and then second time, I don't know.
Well, it's got to be stiffer, harsher.
Yeah,
Okay, so
each
if they had,
time, yeah,
if they had caught you trying to escape, what would happen?
probably serve in prison.
They would put you in prison?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, so Mom wasn't caught, and she left with. You went to a refugee camp in Italy.
Yes.
right.
For
And
2
then
years.
for 2 years,
Yeah.
and then you.
Legally, I get. They make paper legally to come in this country.
Okay, good. So Mom actually lived the American dream,
She
That's
did.
right.
and now when we're gonna go through some litigation points, and when you confronted Judge Patterson in my case, what he was doing was denying your daughter and Mimi.
Well, it wasn't the management team. It was a certain person.
What's that person's name?
Lisa Carney, who is a landlord staff employee, basically.
So
you
she
see.
threatened to have us arrested.
Yes, she did. Screaming me. Go
So Bill wrote his own complaint, and we're going to read it now.
ahead. Right
okay?
now.
So this is Bill's complaint, and he just filed this.
I filed it a couple of days ago.
And we're all going to read it together.
Okay.
Because Bill is inspirational, and what he's teaching us is how to stand up to bullies. Okay? So Bill filed this complaint against Lisa Carney, and this happened on November 22nd, 2012, and we're going to go forward with this. And he filed a complaint for harassment.
Lydia, I could read from the sheet if you don't mind.
You want to read it
yeah,
nice
from
and
the
slowly?
sheet with you
Okay.
as you read from the
Okay.
screen.
All right. Let me read this. Let me read it slowly once so everybody gets
Surely.
it. Okay. Lisa Carney, landlord staff employee, harassed Lydia Radin and William Doherty on November 22nd, 2012.
Right.
Whoops, let me just get this. 2012.
Next sentence.
Lydia Radin, a guest of William Doherty, who is a tenant, was discussing with the tenants, right here, discussing with the tenants, and Councilwoman Nydia Lopez, the state legislature, discussing with the tenants and...
The bills in the state legislature.
Okay, the bills in the state legislature introduced by Senator, this is State Senator, New Jersey, Senator Brian Stack.
Right.
And Senator
Cunningham.
Okay, concerning
Tenant issues.
tenants' issues. This was a
public
event with
Councilwoman Nydia Lopez, Lydia Radin, and others. Lydia Radin
go slower.
and Councilwoman Nydia Lopez were both invited by the tenant.
Lydia Radin and
Councilwoman Nydia Lopez.
okay, so right here, Lydia Radin, just one second, and Councilwoman Nydia Lopez, who's our defense witness, were both invited
by
the tenants
to speak
Go ahead.
on tenants' rights issues.
Okay.
For no reason, Lisa Carney evicted Lydia Radin and William Doherty from the meeting. Carney went to the
Wait, just one second.
Yes, when you're ready.
Just one second. Carney
Went.
We're right here.
Yeah.
Okay, just one second. Carney, this is Lisa Carney, went to the 16th floor, the 16th floor where public events are held.
The rec room, the recreation room, and screamed and shouted and threatened
to
to call the police and have William Doherty and Lydia Radin arrested.
Okay, so Bill filed this complaint.
I did.
For harassment.
Yes.
And it's going to be heard in municipal court.
Jersey City Municipal Court on February the 28th of this year.
Right. So we were afraid to tell you because, when we stand up, they threaten to arrest us.
Yes. How horrible, isn't it?
Yeah. And you had a keen insight that I'd like you to share with the audience before we go into your witness statement. Bill's daughter is fighting right now.
In Afghanistan.
She's inspirational. She's a member of the U.S. Army.
Yes.
And what did you want to tell the audience?
That they treat him so badly. Shame on them. Because his daughter is fighting for rights, for everybody's rights, and they don't give him his right, like they don't give you your rights.
Right.
Well, and Mom's insight was, Bill sent his daughter into the Army and I think what happens is that we in America take our civil rights for granted.
Very much so.
And the reason why someone like you is important...
Because I live under a terrible government. Most people who come over here comes from the government that is really hard.
Totalitarian regimes.
Because my father was United States, and they say the United States was capitalism, and that's why we didn't have no rights.
So you were living under a repressive government in general,
yeah.
but they retaliated against you in specific because your father tried to go find work.
That's right.
Because my father was in the United States, he didn't want to come home.
And he was in America
In America, and they
to try
said-
to earn a living.
Yeah, and
After
that's-
war-torn Europe.
That's right, and that's why we was.
Retaliated against.
That's right.
Now let me ask you something. In that time in Yugoslavia, there really were things like the secret police.
Absolutely, they got my uncle and they throw him out a window, they for no reason.
So you
Government-
really have the secret.
And my husband, brother, they during Germany when it was a war, they picked him up from the fields and never heard from him. So
you really do have corrupt governments with secret police.
that's why people come to this country, because it's supposed to be country of laws. And what happened to the country of laws now? What happened to you?
That's right.
You suppose the judges and lawyers, they don't uphold the law.
That's right.
Excellent segue into what you want to say about Judge Patterson. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to segue into, I just want to give an overview of your witness statement, okay?
Right.
So this is your witness statement. This is Crooked Doctors, and this is not the only time you're going to speak out, because you've called the show, you've gone to law enforcement. They're not going to silence you. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is Friday, January 18th, 2013.
Right.
And they tried to arrest us, but Bill fought back.
We did.
Bill's a hero. He's inspirational.
Tired of being a hero, but that's the way it goes.
No, Bill's fighting back.
All right, I am fighting back, though.
He is. The first time I met Bill, he didn't have a computer. He didn't know anything. I was a computer. He's got a tech team. He's writing his own complaints.
Computer literate, folks.
You know, there's no way. Bill is standing up to bullies.
Okay.
So now Ozana Radin is going to put the facts on the record.
Good.
And we're going to review just a couple highlights. This is
Sure.
not an exhaustive treatment, but she does want to get through some of the highlights.
That's right.
In 2007, Judge Patterson, my mother confronted Judge Patterson,
Yes.
and she asked about a hearing procedure.
That's right.
Not because she wanted something in writing, but she's like, everybody says my daughter got a hearing. What hearing? She got no hearing.
What hearing?
Show me.
Yeah, you know, she wasn't allowed to be in the meeting room to cross-examine witnesses against her.
That's
So
right.
she confronts a federal judge in a very nice way. And
That's
by the way,
right.
he's a liar. We'll get to that.
That's true.
And so and ultimately the upshot of all this in 2007 was Judge Patterson said, well, if you want to see the written, published, faculty-approved hearing procedure
Right.
that Yeshiva University claims it gave you, go talk to the school yourself.
That's right.
Is that correct?
That's what he told me to tell you.
So if Judge Patterson is directing us to contact Yeshiva University, that's not harassment.
Absolutely not.
And you should have been, Judge Patterson should have been at criminal trial in 2010. He is not above the law.
That's
He's
right.
not the Queen of England.
That's
He's a
right.
judge. He should have been called as a witness. You should have been called as a witness.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about how dishonest, this is the public service, dishonest attorney Michael J. Redenberg deliberately kept witnesses off the stand
Yeah.
so that a police detective in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office could get away with suborning perjury, which is a crime.
It is.
Okay? And then you're going to talk a little bit, because we got about 45 minutes, about
Right.
Stacy Dix-Kubiowski in 2008.
That's right.
She created a false record, and we're going to just hit those highlights because she's a liar.
She is.
So if you're in Jersey City, ladies and gentlemen,
Right.
and you run into someone named Stacy Dix-Kubiowski, you run, do not walk from
Run,
this
do not walk.
dishonest person, and you're going to discuss how she lied.
Yeah.
And then I was, in order to shut me up, which is not going to happen, in 2010, Yeshiva University pressed false criminal charges
Yes.
against me. And we're going to talk about dishonest attorney Michael J. Redenberg. I have his photograph.
That's right.
How he deliberately kept evidence off the record
He
to
did it.
create a false record, to create a false record, to create a false record, to
That's right.
railroad me.
That's right.
And then once I was railroaded, we got dishonest. Oh, look, I spelled dishonest wrong.
What?
I was
Who we
writing
got?
so fast.
Who
Sorry,
we got
guys.
then?
Dishonest attorney David Klegman,
Okay.
who lied.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's hit some of these high points.
Okay.
Okay. Now, in 2007,
Yes.
you came to visit me,
Yes.
and I'm living in Jersey City.
Yeah.
And everybody says, my daughter, we got a hearing, we got a hearing. Now, because we stood strong,
Right.
we got Dan Rizal. This is, and I'm going to put his photograph and show his law firm.
Sure.
Dan Rizal, in oral argument with Judge Patterson in 2005, claimed that I got 2 hearings.
That's right.
Because we challenged that 5 years later in the farce of my criminal trial, Dan Rizal was asked point blank, and I'm going to show the trial transcript in subsequent shows. Right now, I just want Mom to get on the record. So in 2005, Dan Rizal of Sive Pajane Rizal tells Judge Patterson that I got 2 hearings. 5 years later, he was asked point blank during the farce of my criminal trial. 5 years later, in 2010, he was asked, did Lydia Radin get a hearing in 1998? Right. This was before my expulsion. And he said, I don't know. So Dan Rizal changed his story from she got 2 hearings to I don't know.
I don't know.
Now, my mother was asking this question in 2007.
Yes, Judge Patterson.
So everybody said, she got a hearing, she got a hearing. My mother's like, show me some evidence she got a hearing. My daughter didn't get a hearing. Now, because we only have about 40 minutes left, I'm going to narrate, and I'm going to ask you some questions. Feel free to stop me.
Sure.
Yeah.
And if, am I putting words in?
No.
Okay. Am I coercing you in any?
No.
Okay. So, my mom says, I'm going to go down and talk to the judge.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm like, okay, be my guest.
Yeah.
Did I hand you my papers, my reply affidavit?
Yes, I wanted to, I took with me.
I hand my mother my reply affidavit that I've submitted. I said, listen, Ma, as long as you're going down and talk to the judge, why don't you show him the written, published, faculty-approved hearing procedure that Yeshiva University provides to its law school students?
Yes.
It's right here. I submitted in federal court to show Judge Patterson, look, this university knows that it's violating the civil rights, the human rights now, of its medical school students. Because right here, here's the written, published, faculty-approved hearing procedure that the law school, Cardozo Law School, provides to its law school students.
Right.
You can't fool the law school students because they're studying their rights.
That's right.
But so easy to fool the medical school students.
That's right.
Because idiots us, we have the scientific method. We do everything in an above-board fashion.
That's
it
right.
doesn't occur to us to lie. So I'm like, Mom, here's the written, published, faculty-approved hearing procedure that the Yeshiva's law school gives to its law school students. Right. Can you show me the written, published, faculty-approved hearing procedure that Yeshiva University provides to its medical school students that says I can be in the room and cross-examine witnesses against me?
Yeah.
Okay?
That's what I asked Judge.
So you go down to Judge Patterson.
Yeah.
Did you bring a witness with you?
Yes,
Okay.
Bob Cross.
Okay, so you bring a witness with you, and you, as you told me the story, because you told the story several times, you introduce yourself to Judge Patterson.
Yeah, and Mrs. Radin, Ozana Radin, and then I even said Lydia's Radin mother.
Okay, so you identified yourself to the judge.
Yes.
Did you disguise your appearance in any way?
Why should I disguise my appearance? I came to talk to him about you. What should I disguise? Of course not.
So you told him, my name is Ozana Radin.
Yes.
My daughter is Lydia Radin.
Yeah, I'm mother of Lydia Radin.
Were you wearing a scarf?
No.
Were you wearing sunglasses?
No.
Were you Mata Hari trying to disguise yourself?
No mask, folks.
No.
So when Judge Patterson claimed that you had come there incognito.
I don't know I don't know where he got that idea. How can I be incognito?
Okay, so you're not incognito.
No.
So Judge Patterson is a liar.
Yep.
And he falsified, and I got all the records, I got all the CDs from... And I'm going to show in subsequent shows how federal judge Robert P. Patterson Jr. Lied, created false court records.
That's right.
When he claimed that you went to see him incognito.
How can I go? Yeah, I went to talk to him about you. How can I go incognito? The idea was to identify myself and identify you so he can know who I'm talking about. How can I go incognito?
You have to identify yourself, ID, everything else.
So simple common sense. Idiots. Okay, Judge. Okay, so you identify yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Judge Patterson invites you in to Now, is this an ex parte communication?
No, what do you mean, expert?
Well, you're trying to influence the judge.
No, I just want to ask him a question.
So you went to ask. This is great. Do you love her little accent? She goes to ask a question, darling, sweetheart boogie. She should ask a question of the big important judge.
Yeah.
Okay. So she goes to ask the big important judge the question, and the question she asks. You don't mind if I tease her, do you?
No.
I tease her mercilessly
All the time.
about her English. Okay. And then she puts me in my place by saying, if I don't like her English, she could converse in another language.
Yeah, you can speak Italian or Slavic. I can speak
Yeah, that's right.
Croatian.
So pick a language.
That's right.
You arrogant American, you only speak English. Don't like my English? Pick another language I should speak to you in. Okay, so my mother goes to ask the big important judge the question. And here's the question she asks. She says, big important judge, everybody says my daughter got a hearing. Could you please show me some evidence that my daughter got a hearing?
That's exactly, yeah.
You tell us what the judge replied.
Tell your daughter to call her school, the yeshiva, not yeshiva, and she should ask them to give her the
Hearing procedure?
hearing procedure and
My records?
and your records.
Can I ask you a question? Because I remember putting my documents, my reply into your hands.
Yeah.
Did you show the judge?
Yeah, I open exactly that. Show me where.
So you said, here's, my daughter went to the law school and she got the written, published, faculty-approved hearing
Yes,
procedure.
I showed to him.
Can you show
So
this?
he said, I don't remember, I don't know. I go tell her exactly what he said. I don't remember, I don't. I said, how can you not remember, not know? You just, not even a week ago, you rule against her. So you should know her case. So
He said, I don't remember, I don't know.
I don't remember, I don't know. And I said, how can you not remember? He said, it was less than a week that he ruled against you on a case. So he said, well, tell her to go ask her school to telephone the Einstein and get her the
hearing procedure.
hearing procedure and what do you call it, the records.
So he told you that I should call the school.
And you should, you should call the. And she said you should. I say no. I still would like you give me the proof that my daughter that you rule against her. Why did you rule against her? That she doesn't have a what do you call the
fair hearing.
Fair hearing. Show me. He said, if you don't leave, I will call marshals.
He would call the marshals?
Marshals, yeah. He called. I said, only thing I want to know. And he called marshal. He said, if you don't leave, I will put the cuffs on you and take you down.
He threatened? He
Yes.
called did the marshals come?
Yes, the marshal came and
Did they threaten to put you in handcuffs?
Yes.
So when you challenge the big important judge that he's
I went-
wrong,
yeah.
what does he do? He
I
calls
didn't even challenge him that he did wrong. I asked him, show me. What you claim that is true, show me.
So you go to challenge the judge.
Yes.
You say my daughter never got a hearing.
Yeah.
You can't show me. My daughter went to the law school. She went and got you the hearing procedure for the law school student. You can't show me a hearing procedure that fully comports with the spirit of the law.
that's
you
right.
can't show me how my daughter got a hearing.
That's right.
She was railroaded out of school. She was not permitted to be in the
room,
the meeting room
yet.
to cross-examine witnesses against her, and the judge calls the marshals and threatens you with arrest.
Yes, he said if you don't leave, absolutely, I will put. He said I put the cuffs on you and take you down.
And they called the marshals.
Yes, marshal.
And the
came.
marshals came.
Yes.
Were you scared?
Yeah, of course I was scared, but I didn't think I was doing anything wrong.
Were you crying?
Yes, I was crying. I was very upset. Of course, I was upset because what they was doing to you, I felt like I'm back in Yugoslavia.
That's right.
Is this America that you can speak, or this is like Nazism? What is it?
Well, shame on you, Judge Patterson.
That's right.
Shame on you, U.S. Marshals.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course I
I'll
was
tell you to
scared.
that.
That's not right.
No.
And shame on you, Rabbi Lamb.
Yeah.
Rabbi.
This is mothers against Einstein.
Uh-huh.
That's right. That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid when people get together and tell the truth. Are you afraid now?
No, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm always afraid for you, what they go to do to you.
Well, we'll get to that. So moving on to 2008, what they're doing to me is to persecute me.
Yeah.
And what they've done, because this is what I uncovered. And in 2008, a lot of this was coming out in my landlord-tenant case because they falsified my financial records.
Right.
Now, we got a lot to get through, so I'm watching the time. So this is coming out. We're in Jersey City Municipal Court with Judge Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Now, I told Judge Rodriguez, now my landlords and I have been through this horrible stuff, and my landlady, Magda Pagnosi, presses false criminal charges against me.
Right.
This is a standard tactic that the landlords
Right.
do.
It's a routine.
Right.
Yes.
So we're in municipal court. Judge Rodriguez is still there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was defending myself in June of 2008,
Yes.
I asked for a public defender, and I have to stand in front of Judge Nestle A. Rodriguez. I complete the form, and in order to get a public defender, I have to disclose my financial information.
Of course.
Yeah.
So I disclosed my debt, and part of my debt was the federal student loan fraud.
Okay.
So I explained this to Judge Rodriguez. I said, Judge Rodriguez, all this stuff comes down to federal student loan fraud.
Mm-hmm.
You're a municipal court judge.
That's right.
I'm a pro se litigant.
Okay.
I hand everybody involved case law that
Right.
shows that a municipal court judge, and I believe it's James versus, well, I don't have to get into those details, but I handed her case law and everybody involved case law that shows with a pro se litigant and a municipal court judge, she can enforce the federal statutes.
That's right.
Okay, that would stop federal student loan fraud against me. And once I had cleared my name, I could go get another apartment and get on with my life.
That's
okay,
right.
So Judge Rodriguez did not enforce the law. That's when I asked her to do so. That's
Okay.
illegal.
Yeah.
But more to the point, most recently when I got out of Rikers,
Right.
I went to the municipal court. I went to the defender's office at the Jersey City Municipal Court. Remember, you were there that day.
I was there.
Did the Jersey City Police threaten me?
They did.
So Bill protected me.
Yes.
And we go in there. I get my folder, and we look through it. Remember, we were looking
remember
through.
that.
And what they had taken out in order to create a false record.
That's right.
They took out my application for a public defender.
There was something missing.
Yeah, and Judge Rodriguez had signed it.
That's right.
So what they were trying to do is is take away the links that showed Judge Rodriguez could have enforced the law in 2008.
That's right.
Had she enforced the law in 2008, I never would have gone to prison in
That's right.
2010.
Yeah.
Okay, so after all this had happened in Jersey City, one of the reasons why there was the malicious prosecution in Manhattan was to create a false record.
Right.
Because they were trying to create a fiction that a city judge a municipal court judge could not enforce federal statutes.
Right.
That's not true.
That's not true.
I gave them the case law. So they're trying to fool people. And who are they trying to fool? They're trying to fool people from the Bulgarian Jewish community
Right.
and from the Russian Jewish community who had big important people from Israel looking in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So they're trying to create this false record.
That's
That's
right.
what they were doing. Now, Judge Rodriguez, there were a lot of things that she did wrong. I asked her twice in January of I asked her twice in July of 2008
Okay.
for a written no contact order.
That's right.
And she didn't give us a no contact.
No.
She gave us this bogus verbal no contact.
That's
Okay,
right.
Yeah.
So Bill and I, most recently in the last few weeks, contacted a law enforcement agency.
We did.
And one of the law enforcement agents told us, you were there.
Yeah. He said that, first of all, Lydia said, I got this verbal no contact order. And the FBI agent said, I never heard of such a thing. Totally both. I mean, it astounded the agent himself.
So the question is, if you got a verbal no contact order,
Doesn't count.
what do you show the police?
Exactly.
Air? Hello, police officer. My landlords have violated the no contact order. Where is it? Well,
On the face of it.
it's ridiculous, okay? So Judge Rodriguez refused to give me a written no contact order. She refused to enforce that no contact order.
That's
Remember,
right.
we went down to the municipal court
Yes,
to room 18 and tried to fill, and they refused to take our complaints.
That's right.
This is in early August of 2008.
Yes,
You were
yes.
staying with me to protect me.
Yes.
Okay, and my landlords had violated.
They was coming every day with the correct. What do you call box cutter? And scratching on the door, knocking on the door, ringing a bell, and even in the evening late.
So the Judge Rodriguez told us that we have this verbal no contact order. If the landlords violate it, we should come down to the municipal court.
So we went, and nothing happened.
Right. They refused to enforce the law to protect us.
That's right.
And had she enforced the law, I never would have been physically assaulted and almost murdered.
Yeah.
Subsequently,
That's right.
in late September of 2008.
That's right.
So on September 12th, 2008, I asked Judge Rodriguez to recuse herself.
That's right.
And I started publicizing the facts.
That's
and
right.
she didn't like that.
No, she didn't.
So she had another verbal order
Yeah.
that compelled me to talk to this woman named Stacy Dix Kubiaski.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Stacy Dix Kubiaski is a dishonest employee of Jersey City Medical Center.
Okay.
And Stacy, they claimed that I had to talk to the so-called mental health professional.
Okay.
She's not a mental health professional. She's
Right.
a criminal.
All right.
And the scheme that they use, this is the pattern because I'm being persecuted by
Sure.
my medical school, and the general public needs to know this. In subsequent shows, I'm going to cite the law
Right.
that you will quote to defend yourself. But the overall scheme
Yeah.
and the core of the issue here is Yeshiva University is a criminal entity. It's a criminal.
It is.
It's a criminal. It's a criminal enterprise. And what I'm dealing with is a gang.
That's
okay,
right.
I'm dealing with the mob.
Gang of thugs.
That's what they are.
Uh-huh.
So it's not about this criminal scheme or that criminal scheme or this
way,
lie
no
or that
way,
lie.
no
They
way.
lie to steal money.
That's
They
right.
all start from school.
Right.
All
And,
happy to
one,
live here.
one fast question. Is there a Medicaid fraud? Do
Yeah,
you want to get
there's-
into that at a later
No,
date?
no,
All
no.
right, go ahead.
Because
continue.
when I was talking to some of my supporters today,
Yeah.
the core of the issue is that Yeshiva University is an organized criminal entity.
It certainly is.
And so what I'm describing is criminal scheme after criminal scheme after criminal scheme.
And they're getting away with it.
Well, they're not anymore.
All right.
And they're persecuting the witnesses that are coming forward to say
Sure.
this is not a school. They lie to steal money,
Right.
and they execute criminal schemes, and they're executing a number of different frauds, which we'll get into. But I don't want us to.
Yeah, wood for the trees.
That's right. We want to see.
I mean, trees for the woods. Or
we don't want to lose sight of the forest because
Right.
we're so
Forest
involved
for
in
with the trees.
and so involved in the details.
Yeah.
And so, so now we're in 2008. I had caught Yeshiva University in a number of criminal schemes.
Okay.
And I presented that to Judge Rodriguez. She described she's helping my landlords, commit crimes against us.
Uh-huh.
And on September 12th, 2008,
Right.
she forced me, she told me that there was, she told my attorney too, that there was a court order that I had to talk to the Stacy Dix Kubiaski.
Okay.
Because she's trying to discredit me.
Sure.
So Stacy Dix Kubiaski, who's a so-called mental health professional, she's not.
She's not.
If she's got to do an assessment or any kind of evaluation, I had the right to see whatever reports she's some sort of.
Of course.
They're trying to characterize you as a nutcase.
There's a loony toony.
Right, because they want to discredit you.
Yeah.
Of
Now,
course.
let me ask you, when on September 12th, 2008, Stacy Dix Kubiaski wrote in my medical records that you, me, and Bob were all in a room together, and that she had talked to me in a room. Was that true?
No, that's absolutely not true. First of all, that day I was not in court, in a court, and was not such a thing because I was not there.
That's right.
Where
So
were you on that day?
I was in your apartment.
Okay. Oh, we have
All right,
notes.
Very good.
Thank you so much. Let's see what our notes say.
See what's going on. Yeah.
Question. As a mother, how do you feel when you saw your daughter's mugshot?
Terrified. It's horrible. Because she was innocent. If she did anything wrong, then she will deserve. But she didn't do anything wrong, so she doesn't deserve. She should not be in prison. All these people should be in prison, like
Stacy Dix
Kubiaski,
Kubiaski.
like Judge and Dan Roselle and Detective Cologne. They should be
Okay,
they should be in jail. Not my
so
daughter.
let me just finish. So this is 2008. Stacy Dix Kubiaski. Have you ever met Stacy Dix Kubiaski?
No.
Okay. So Stacy Dix Kubiaski lied. She falsified open public record.
That's right.
She claimed on September 12th, 2008, that the three of us were in a room. The three of us were not there. We were not in a room.
That's right.
It was me and Robert Cross. And what she deliberately left off the record that day is I showed her the bills I got from Sally Mae. I showed her the postmarked envelopes, and I explained to her about federal student loan fraud. And all of that she left off the record to cover up because they were in contact with my medical school. Okay, now, in 2010, this is important because we got 20 minutes left.
Yeah.
In 2010, Yeshiva University has me on trial, and they're trying to discredit me.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now, I want you to talk a little bit about my attorney, dishonest attorney Michael J. Redenberg. And in subsequent shows, we only got about 20 minutes left, but in subsequent shows, I'm going to show you his website and his photograph
That's right.
because this attorney is dangerous to others.
No
This
good.
is important consumer information, okay? Now, before you had arrived, Detective Colon got up on the witness stand, okay? And what he said was, and I'll show the transcript also, what he said was he didn't take my complaints seriously because my complaints came after Yeshiva University complained
right.
about me. They were for aggravated harassment. That's not true.
Not true.
And the reason nobody wanted to do anything was because, Detective Colon was saying that, well, we discounted Miss Radin's complaints, but he lied. And he was told the lies to tell by the district attorney.
Okay.
So the reason why my complaints against Yeshiva came first,
Right.
they were made for federal student loan fraud, not for aggravated harassment.
Okay.
And the reason why no one wanted to do anything, all these elected officials and nobody wanted to do anything, was because for federal student loan fraud, the consequences to Yeshiva University are huge.
Huge. Disastrous.
Between me and Mike Tyberg, fraud is not tolerated
That's
in
right.
the administration of federal student loans.
Sure.
And what would have happened was the federal government would have been obligated to pull those programs, and Yeshiva University could have never regained its eligibility.
They would have been defunded, is the word.
Right.
Yes.
So they would have lost the ability to administer federal student loans.
Absolutely.
That, coupled with the fact that they were found to discriminate on the basis of religion
Sure.
in the 1999 Diane Persky case,
yes.
would have effectively shut down the school because they would have lost their tax exemption, they would have lost their ability to administer federal student
right.
loans, they would have been outed as the criminal entity they are.
Sure.
So Detective Colon, after he gave his testimony, I told Michael J. Redenberg, he's leaving the witness stand. I'm like, please question Detective Colon.
Sure.
He refused to cross-examine him. My attorney was helping to railroad me into prison. And a couple days later, I'm just going to set this up because
Sure.
we have about 20 minutes left, and then you can talk.
Sure.
The Michael J. Redenberg refused to present your testimony because you and Robert Cross, who were rushing to the courthouse, right? Certainly, the judge could have waited an hour to hear your testimony. You were rushing to the courthouse because if you had testified, what you would have testified to is not only would you have testified that my complaints came first, but you would have testified to the 2006 June meeting that we had in Albany with Cheryl Fisher.
That's
Do you remember that?
Yes, Bob drove too.
And you gave affidavits that Judge Patterson had.
Yeah.
Alan Raskoff gave affidavits. I know there are people calling, but we got to get Mom on
Can't
the
call
record.
now. We got a lot to get through, people.
We got to get Mom on the
All
record.
right.
But you're going to call in and you're going to let people ask you questions in subsequent shows.
Let's get through this.
Okay. In 2006, you came with Robert Cross and Alan Raskoff, a gay activist, and Javon Patiar, and Marlene Abramova, and Mike Tyberg. We all went up to Albany in 2006.
That's right.
And we were complaining about federal student loan fraud to a state agency.
Yeah.
Before that, did you attend a meeting before that with Congressman Crowley?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Congressman Crowley is my defense witness.
There you go.
And these affidavits, I mean, I had a letter of introduction from Congressman Crowley's office
Yes, I was with you.
to the Higher Education Services Corporation in 2005. In 2006, we traveled up to Albany. We had the meeting with Cheryl Fisher. Right now on my Crooked Doctors channel, I have audio tapes of Cheryl Fisher confirming this.
Right.
But Judge Patterson had these affidavits. So I'm going to give you a few minutes, Ma. I want you to talk about how Michael J. Redenberg kept your testimony off the record in 2010. Go ahead.
Okay, we was about 2 hours away from New York. He called on a telephone that we should not bother coming because judge will not hear our testimony to go back home. I said, you must be kidding, going back home. I be there. We was there in an hour and a half. And then I said, can you give me room number? And
All right, so you're rushing to the courthouse in Manhattan.
Yes.
At 100 Center Street.
Yes.
And you know that I'm on trial.
Yes.
And you know that I'm being railroaded.
Yes.
And the attorney, Michael J. Redenberg, is saying, go home.
Go home. He called us up. You don't need to testify. We don't want you to testify.
Of course, they wanted to keep your testimony off the record.
I said, you must be kidding.
The reason they wanted to keep your testimony off the record is because you would have discredited Detective Cologne.
That's right.
And you would have shown that the Manhattan District Attorney's Office suborned perjury.
Yeah.
These are very serious crimes.
Yes.
Okay. So as you're rushing to the courthouse, go ahead, tell what happened.
He gave us wrong number room and wrong floor. So we go to the floor, to the room, and then we go to the floor where it was all wrong, and was a really matter of time to get quickly there. And then we went downstairs and we asked, where is a judge, what was his name? Judge McLaughlin room. They say, oh, you go, instead to tell us the room where he is, the courtroom. They send us in a small office, I think must be the...
like a security office?
Yes, to go there. So we come in the security office. There was a couple of, what do you call, the...
court personnel?
Yes, the
security guard.
Security guard, and we explain what we are there for, and they said we will call up and find out for you.
Okay.
So they call up. Where they talk, I don't know. They call up, and then they give us a room, and we went out, and we was going to go out in an elevator, and who come out was your lawyer.
Michael J. Redenberg?
Yes, yeah. So I said, what? And we step right into the...
So are you trying to tell Michael J. Redenberg, we're here at the courthouse, we want to testify?
Right. I said, well, how is Lydia doing? He said, Lydia will get about 5 years.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what he thought.
Did you tell Michael J. Redenberg? Yeah, he's trying to scare you.
Yeah, scared me, yeah.
Did you try to tell him we're here to testify?
Yes, and I saw a judge there. They said no. Then you asked to talk to me, and they said no, not to.
I remember you in the courtroom during sentencing.
Yeah, and they refused
even
to talk to you.
Even at sentencing, after they
Yeah.
they refused to let you talk to me.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I would have said, because I kept telling Michael J. Redenberg. First, Detective Cologne had testified and he had lied, and Michael J. Redenberg refused to cross-examine him.
Yeah.
And I got him. I'm like, you have to call him back on the witness stand. Recall him. You have to cross-examine him. That police detective, Detective Cologne, just lied on the witness stand, and he refused to do that. So my attorney. My privately paid attorney is conspiring with the judge and the district attorney to keep your evidence off the record.
That's right.
And they're playing
a little... scaring me that she will get 5 years. I said, they accuse her that she make a telephone call. They put the people for 5 years in
No, that's nonsense.
We
harassed nobody. I had a right to my records. But here's the other thing. There was a pending issue because the government was coming after me to pay for classes I never took, and they still are. But I remember you... the trial happened in April, and then they put me in Rikers for a couple weeks, and then it's May, and you're at sentencing. I remember you in sentencing.
Yeah.
And even then, if they had allowed us to talk, you would have spoken up and said, Judge McLaughlin, Michael Redenberg refused to allow me to testify. Detective Cologne lied.
But they didn't want to hear. They didn't want to hear anything. They didn't want me to talk. They didn't want me to talk.
They wanted to create a deliberate false record, and they wanted to railroad me.
They want to create a fiction.
Yeah, fiction. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I'm in Rikers, and now they want to milk you for money for the appeal.
Yes.
And there's an attorney that they send down to talk to me, named David Klegman.
Yes, I went to him.
David Klegman, I'm going to show his website, also participated. He's a dishonest attorney. Did David Klegman ever tell you that he was a teacher or a lecturer at Yeshiva University?
No, never told me.
You got to let me finish the question. Am I putting words in your mouth? No. Okay. We've discussed this, so she knows.
Oh, sure, I know what she was saying.
Did David Klegman ever tell you that he, because after I got out of prison, I did a little Google search on David Klegman. Did he ever tell you that he was a teacher or a lecturer with Yeshiva University's law school, Cardozo Law School?
No.
He never told you
No.
that? Okay. My mother, you told everybody in sight,
Yeah.
and you're going to correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You told everybody in sight that you would say and do whatever you had to say and do to have me released on bail pending appeal.
Absolutely, yes.
So David Klegman comes to me and he says, your mother will not put up money and she will not do what is needed to be done to get you bail pending appeal. And I was shocked.
That's a lie.
I was shocked because I knew that was a lie. I was like, my mother would never do. My mother would give her blood to get me out of prison.
That's right.
So did you ever tell David Klegman that you would not put up money?
I told him I will put the money and I want Lydia out.
That you now I'm gonna fast forward this a little bit because we only have about 5 or 10 minutes left. You told David Klegman that you would say
and
or
Bob
do.
was right there with me when I told him that.
You told David Klegman, dishonest attorney, that you would say and do whatever you had to say and do to have me released from Rikers.
Yes, it doesn't matter what cost.
And he lied.
He went to lie to her, and he know that we can very well communicate. That I can't call you to find that to tell you because I can't call you, and it takes time when you call me. So it was a lot of time spent between. So he knew he can get away with it.
Okay, so this is the technique that they use, is to try to play you off against each other. Because they thought that they could play us off against each other.
So when Lydia called, Ma, did you refuse to put my bail? I said, well, you must be kidding. Who told you that? Of course not. I waited when they go to put the bail for you. I talked to your lawyer, yes. And she said, you know, that he came and told me that that your mother refused. I couldn't believe that.
Okay, now what we're talking about is this is post-conviction, and while I'm in Rikers, this is something called bail pending appeal.
Okay.
And so since I'm in the appeals process, if Mom had put up, a sum of money or she guaranteed, they were trying to create this fiction that I would leave the country.
Sure.
I'm like, there's no way I'm leaving the country because I was convicted illegally. And Judge Patterson had evidence and still has evidence. And by the way, we went down to the appeals court and I got the CDs and made copies and gave them to the U.S. Marshals and to others. I'm like, I got plenty of evidence that shows that Judge Patterson had affidavits that showed my complaints against Yeshiva University came first. They were for federal student loan fraud, and no one wanted to do anything because for federal student loan fraud, Yeshiva University would lose its ability to administer these programs forever.
Right.
This is the lie that that James Michael Lenahan told. He was Marlene Abramova's attorney. He was supposed to help me, and they were asking, Mr. Lenahan, why didn't you take Lydia Radin's case? And he was making up all these excuses, right? So that's the origin of that lie. And when I'm in Rikers, what my mother was trying to say was, she's going to appeal, and they created this fiction that I was going to leave the country. I'm like, I'm not going to leave the country because remember, I was in contact with the president of a foreign country,
Sure.
And you're from Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
Bosnia was part of Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
So I had the president of Bosnia, Željko Komisic, do me a favor. He had conveyed a letter from me to the Bush White House, and they created this big fiction that I was going to leave the country. I'm not going to leave the country. I'm going to have these dishonest judges removed from the bench because it's a public service. And so they were trying to create this fiction, and my mother was like, you let her out on bail pending appeal.
Right.
And you were willing to put up property, money, whatever guarantees we needed. In fact, we were even saying, I've been in Washington Heights for 2 years. I'm not leaving Washington Heights. The Dominican community in Washington Heights is supporting what I'm doing. Okay? They know Yeshiva University. They know Yeshiva University is a bunch of bigots. They've had their own fights with Yeshiva University, and they support us.
Right.
So when David Klegman tried to lie and said that you were not going to put up bail pending appeal,
That's right.
he lied to me.
Absolutely. I was shocked.
Okay, well, we're not so shocked anymore.
That's right.
But then I thought, he was working, helping you. But
So
he
at
didn't.
any point, if Michael J. Redenberg could have done a 440 motion, and a 440 motion would have been a request to Judge McLaughlin saying evidence has been kept off the record, witnesses have not been allowed to come forward, you created a false record to railroad this person in prison so that you could discredit her with false criminal charges, and then you could label her as criminally insane because Yeshiva University can't stand that there are witnesses coming forward telling the truth.
Okay.
Because things that they did, they can't face themselves. As long as everybody's quiet and they don't have to face it what they did, they should be ashamed of themselves.
So in 2006,
Yes.
we formed a little delegation,
Yeah.
and we drove up to Albany
That's right.
with Cheryl Fishner.
Yeah.
Was Alan Raskoff there?
Yes.
Alan Raskoff is a gay activist. He gave me an affidavit. That affidavit is with Judge Patterson in federal court. So we're in state court. Judge Patterson here is in federal court.
Yes.
Javon Pattiar gave me an affidavit.
Yes.
You gave me an affidavit.
Yes.
Robert Cross gave me an
Yes.
affidavit. Marlene Abramova did not give me an affidavit.
Mike Tyberg?
I don't believe that he did. I got to go back and check. But I know there were people who gave me affidavits, and those affidavits are with Judge Patterson. And Judge Patterson had enough evidence. I wanted Judge Patterson called as a witness.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's a sitting federal judge. I'm like, so what? He's not a queen. He's not above the law. Let him come here and testify.
Sure. It's happened before.
And they don't want to, because then I would have confronted Judge Patterson with the fabricated rulings.
Sure.
Okay? So, is there anything else you wanted to add about some of the, coming forward, about anything so far? Do you feel pretty comfortable with?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so we had gone to a meeting with Congressman Crowley.
Crowley, yeah.
Congressman Crowley is my defense witness. Congressman Weiner is also my defense witness.
That's right. We went there. I went with you
Congressman Weiner's
Weiner,
office.
yes.
We went to Congressman Weiner's office in 2005.
Yes.
And we presented his chief of staff. Do you remember that meeting?
Yeah, I do.
I gave him a stack of information. This is all the evidence you need in the Code of Federal Regulations to show federal student loan fraud.
Yeah.
Congressman Weiner's office had written to the Bronx District Attorney.
Yeah.
In October of 2005, Assistant District Attorney Linda Tacoma
Yeah.
wrote to Congressman Weiner, and she lied. And she did not give full, true, and complete information. She lied. She said that the felony crime against me was committed in federal student loan fraud, was committed more than 5 years, and she couldn't prosecute. And what she lied about was that there is a 1-year fraud discovery rule for larceny in the context of a fiduciary duty. So there's a 1-year fraud discovery rule for criminal prosecution for the falsified financial information that I discovered in June of 2005. Recall, Judge Patterson had ruled against me in May of 2005. A month later, I discovered the falsified promissory note. So there's a 1-year fraud discovery rule for criminal prosecution. Assistant District Attorney Linda Tacoma did not tell that to Congressman Weiner's office because they were seeking to deceive an elected official. And there's a 2-year fraud discovery rule in my underlying civil claims with Judge Patterson. Okay?
Yeah.
So Linda Tacoma had lied in October of 2005 to Congressman Weiner, and it was after that, in December of 2005, that I went to the Jersey City Police. And I got the Jersey City Police report that shows,
Right.
and I talked to Sergeant Sullivan,
That's right.
and he's known as Sergeant Scully.
Okay.
And Scully went through the Jersey statutes. He photocopied to them. He's like, Lydia, this is consumer fraud. Remember, I'm living in Jersey City for 5 years.
Okay.
So when they lie and they say, oh, the crime was committed in the Bronx, yes, one count was one criminal act was in the Bronx.
Okay.
But when I'm living in Jersey City, every bill that Sally Mae sent me, this is the loan servicing company, is an act of fraud. That's mail fraud. Every phone call, every email, that's electronic fraud. So what I've got with Mike Tyberg is we have a claim for civil RICO.
Yes.
This is racketeer influence corrupt organizations.
Okay.
Yeshiva University behaves like an organized criminal entity.
Sure.
Okay. And who would appreciate this? The judge in the current case that I'm in, because he prosecuted the mob.
Okay.
And he knows what I'm dealing with.
That's right.
So you remember Congressman Crowley is my defense witness to show that Detective Cologne lied on the witness stand. Congressman Weiner is my defense witness.
That's
Cheryl Fisher is my defense witness.
That's right.
In 2007, we have Judge Patterson saying he told me to contact the school.
To call the school, yes.
So if Judge Patterson, a federal judge, is saying call the school,
Right.
that's not harassment, now is it? When a federal judge says it, okay?
That's right.
And we're out. All right. Very good.
Excellent.